On Saturday, November 11th, join us for ASA Podcasting's 12-hour charity event featuring a Skyrim addict, the Fallout Feed, the Chatterbox, My Journey with Cystic Fibrosis, Game Talk, Awesome Spaceship, Earwash, and more. All funds raised will be donated to the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. Help us surpass the $2,500 raised in 2016. Full details and schedule can be found at asapodcasting.com.
Wasteland is a post-apocalyptic mess as the sole survivor wanders out, proud to see the rest. Nuclear explosions sending out the gamma rays from deep within the core, gross atomic waves. From deep within the core, gross atomic waves.
Hello and welcome to the 83rd edition of the Fallout Feed. I am Andrew, joined this evening by Ray. Hi, Ray. How's it going?
Doing great, Andrew.
Wonderful. Glad to have you here. Tonight we're going to get into some play-along feedback for the Fallout New Vegas roundtable we've been playing. Do you remember the quest we're doing? I think it was They Want That Away Part 2.
Come fly with me.
Yeah, Come Fly With Me, the one you go over to clear the ghouls, and then the Boulder City.
Yep.
What's it called? Showdown something?
Boulder City Showdown.
Yep. And then
Ring-a-ding-ding.
Ring-a-ding-ding. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Right on. So, we as the podcast have not actually covered the last two, but the feedback group here will go ahead and cover those, and then we will get into those next week. And then Ray, you and I have to put our heads together and figure out how the schedule is going to go for the next couple weeks after this, because now the quest starts splintering, right?
Yep. Yeah, they're definitely. I think we've got a good start for it, but we'll definitely hammer that out.
Yeah, so next week we'll announce which quests are coming out after we get done with our last two. So speaking of play along feedback, guys, we've got some feedback from Chris, also Joe, Casey, Leon, Steve, and Craig. So another big batch of feedback to get through tonight, at least another solid hour 15 of feedback from you guys. So Ray and I will try to keep our thoughts concise and on point, shall we say. But yeah, so thanks again, guys, for sending in another great batch of feedback. We totally enjoyed the first batch. Wonderful stuff. Loved it. If you haven't had time to do your second batch of feedback, go ahead and send it on in. We'll work it into the show in the next couple episodes. So don't be shy if you send it in the first time, but ran out of time, think you're too late, whatever. We don't care about that. Play the game at your own pace. Send in the feedback as you're playing, and we'd love to hear what you're doing. So yeah, thanks a lot. Ray, any news or anything we need to get into before we launch into our audio feedback?
No, Fallout's been kind of quiet.
Yeah. There was any creation kit drama or anything recently?
No.
No people on Reddit threatening to blow up the
No, that's mostly been focused on Skyrim for the time being.
Okay, good.
They're taking a little heat off of us.
What's going on in the Skyrim creation kit thing?
Well, it just started to launch. It went into beta, and then at the same time, the SKSE 64 popped up, and so all kinds of stuff is happening in the modding community over there on that side of the podcasting fence.
I was just reading an article on Reddit, on the Fallout Reddit the other day. And some guy was asking, he's like, I've never played any of the Fallout games before, but I just finished 3 not too long ago, and I'm a little bit into Fallout New Vegas. And I'm really loving both of these games, but then I look at the reviews for Fallout 4, and it's so terrible. Everyone on Reddit's just shredding Fallout 4 to pieces. What's wrong with this game, guys? And then, people launched into the different theories about why this and why that, why Fallout 4 isn't as good as the other games and all that. But then someone brought up the point that, these are all just bitchy little assholes who are whining about the creation kit stuff that just came out or whatever, or they're about to come out, or people,
everybody has their favorite game, things that they really, like, and, the the wonder of the web allows us to express that as if it is the whole truth and nothing but the truth. When it's somebody's personal opinion, and they're free to express it. But all three are great games, and so.
And I'm biased just because 4 was my first, so
yeah,
I really like 4, and I let it out of that proverbial doghouse. Yeah. So without further ado, I say we go ahead and jump into some feedback here. Chris, we'll check in with Chris first. We got 2 pieces from Chris, so we'll start here with number 1. Thanks, Chris, for submitting.
Hey everyone, this is Chris from Minneapolis. I didn't get a chance to send in my feedback for the first episode, so I wanted to give a real quick catch up and tell you where I'm at now. Just as a recap, my character was a male named Aaron Jacobs. His faction is Yes Man, and his specials are as follows: 2, 7, 6, charisma of 10, 4, 8, and 3. My trait was trigger discipline. I just got one of those, and my tag skills were survival, melee weapons, and guns. And my companion was listed as Rose of Sharon Cassidy. I'm playing that once my character was shot in the head, it kind of sapped all the strength out of him. I'm pretending that he used to be a lot stronger, but once he got shot, something happened and he no longer has his strength. So he relies on his handgun skills more than anything. I've tried some melee stuff, but it didn't seem to work very well for me. So I'm kind of sticking to guns, but I'm dropping, leveling up my tag skills kind of evenly throughout the gameplay. Pretty much I started out in Doc Mitchell's house, or after I get shot in the head, I ended up with Doc Mitchell. For some reason, everything in his shack was tagged as would be stealing if I would take it. So my guy isn't a thief unless he really doesn't like you. So he might wouldn't pass up the opportunity to take something if he doesn't like you. So pretty much I couldn't take anything there without losing a lot of karma. So everything was left there. And I'm also thinking that Doc Mitchell did a pretty good job in patching me up if I have a charisma of 10. So that's going to leave that on his skills that he was able to do that. Once outside, I ran into Victor, talked to him. He told me all about the night in the cemetery, and then suggested that I head up to Prim for more information. Ran around the town, ran into Sunny Smiles, and did the quest she had to offer. Wasn't able to save the settler at that water pumps, but oh well. After those, I just kind of ran around, ran into Ringo at the gas station. I agreed to help him out, so I went around talking to others in the town, but nobody wanted to help other than Sunny. She was pretty excited to help out. So once we got everything together, Sunny, Ringo, and I went out and faced the powder gangers. And during that fight, there was an unfortunate volley of grenades from me that killed Cheyenne, but Sunny didn't seem too bothered by that. She was her chipper self after the fight after we won. Maybe that's why Easy Pete wasn't willing to give me any dynamite. So we took care of the powder gangers, and then I made my way to Prim. Once I got to Prim, I got a little more information from Johnson Nash about the courier business that I was in. And I set off to rescue Deputy Beagle out of the Bison Steve Hotel. I was pretty successful about rescuing Deputy Beagle, brought him back. He told me that my next stop would be Nipton. So once I got him out, he didn't want to be the sheriff. He just wanted to be the deputy. So I actually also rescued the sheriff out of the NCR prison, and then went up and pretty much had to pay for his freedom. I wasn't able to convince them to do otherwise. So once I got back with the news that his pardon was paid for, I'm kind of sad that I found out that Deputy Beagle lost his job as the deputy. So, well, unfortunately, or fortunately, I mean, it doesn't sound like he was any good. So once the sheriff was installed, I headed up to Nipton. First time there, I didn't go in far enough to trigger the Caesar's Legion to talk to me. So I talked to the guy that won the lottery, then I went in and gave some meds to the guy that was injured in there, and he wasn't very appreciative of that. So I left and started walking around and headed to Novak. I think I'll stop it there for real quick and do a part 2 for this, for my encounters in Novak and beyond. Hey everyone, this is Chris from Minneapolis. This is part 2 of my feedback. I headed to Novak where I met with Manny and the Dinosaur Head. He asked me to head over to the RepCon test site and take care of some of the ghouls that were hanging out there. So I head that way, get inside, kill some ghouls, and then hear over the intercom that I was needed upstairs, and so I headed that way, and that's where I met up with Jason Bright. He asked me to clear out the nightkin in the basement. I don't think he called him nightkin. I think he called him something else. I'm not really sure. So I went down there with used one of those stealth boys pretty frequently down there, and took out all the nightkin. I ran into a ghoul named Harland, I think he was, that was hanging out down there, and he asked me to try to find his friend. Apparently I went someplace I wasn't supposed to. I came out, I guess I surprised him behind him, and he started firing on me, so I had to take him out. So I pretty much killed everybody in the basement, leading the way, for Jason Bright to get to where he needs to go. Once I did that, I followed them down into the basement where their rocket was being prepared. I tried to convince Chris Halversum that he wasn't a ghoul, but he wouldn't have any of it. My speech isn't high enough to take care of that. I haven't been putting any points into that. So I just left it at that. If he wants to believe he's a ghoul, he can. And then I did the quest to pick up the items that he needed. And once I returned with those, went up to the observation deck and watched the rocket take off, which is kind of cool. I did hear Jason talk about thanking the 2 humans, Chris and I. So I kind of felt bad, so I went back down into the basement to find him, and he wasn't there anymore. So I headed back to Novak, which I saw actually Chris Halverson walking through the parking lot at the motel there. So I tried to talk to him, and he just kept telling me to leave him alone. So it wasn't me. I tried to convince him, but he just didn't want to hear it. So I met back up with Manny, and he told me the people I was looking for were headed to Boulder City. So instead of going up there first, I actually headed back to Nipton, and when I was scouting around that area, that's when the Caesar's Legion came in and talked to me. And I don't really like those guys. Didn't fire on them. They didn't do anything bad to me. So I just left it alone and went and told the NCR that they were there, and let them handle it. After that, I headed back to where Cassie is, and started that quest to try to get her as my companion. Went down to the caravan group and did a couple quests to try to do what I needed to do to unlock to where I can tell Cassie to sell her caravan. Apparently my speech wasn't high enough to try to convince her to sell that, so I actually had to hold off on her until I can level up enough to drop some points into my speech. So I ran around doing several other quests to level up, and hopefully, what I'm thinking is I just improved my people skills during those quests, and then headed back and got Cassie as my companion. For some reason, I went back to the caravan company where that purchased Cassie's caravan, and I went to talk to Cassie, and she kind of gave me a mouthful of that it wasn't right and things like that. So I kind of apologized for bringing her to where she lost her caravan. So actually, I think before I picked Cassie up as a companion, I had done the Boulder City, where I met up with the NCR outside the ruins. Agreed to sneak in and try to rescue the soldiers that were taken hostage. Untied those, and then they started firing on me. So not the NCR guys, but the guys holding them hostage, the Great Khans. Once they started firing on me, the NCR troops kind of flooded the area, so I kind of stood back and let the NCR handle those guys. And then I was quickly learned that the person I was looking for, Benny, was in New Vegas, I believe, and that's kind of the next stop I was heading towards. And that's pretty much where I stopped at. I did make it to New Vegas. I did have enough caps to get in. And I believe it was Victor that met me at the gate and talked to me. But it was just pretty much I just stepped right inside the gates, and that's kind of where I'm at. So I haven't gone any further. I believe I touched all the quests up to that point that we were doing. So kind of look forward to seeing where this goes and where my faction comes into play. From what I understand, it's not until I get a little further into New Vegas before I meet him. So I'm looking forward to see how it plays out. That's my feedback for this time, and I'm enjoying playing, and hopefully you enjoy the feedback. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris, for that awesome piece of feedback. Great for calling in, and good about hearing about your character. So he looks like he had some conversations with what's his name, Chris Halverson.
Yeah, the Redcon. The guy that got the goal.
Yeah, and he back at the Novak, right? Is that what he was talking about?
Yeah. So after the rockets take off and he realizes that he's been duped this whole time, then he shuffles around the parking lot at the Novak Hotel, and you can talk to him, and he'll whine about it. There's usually a couple of speech options you can take, to either tell him he's pathetic or, tell him you sympathize with him. But
yeah. Is there any end game? Does it give you any sort of a perk or a benefit or a weapon or anything cool?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Nice. But I need to go back and talk to him, because when people were saying that he popped back up, do you have to do something specific after the rockets take off to make him go back, or will he go back no matter what? Will he go to Novak no matter?
Yeah, he goes back no matter what.
Okay, so I need to pop back over there and check him out a little bit, because I thought that was cool when people were talking about him coming back. He was talking about Cass, getting Cass as a companion. Do you know anything?
Yeah, that can be a challenge.
I was trying to do that too, and I can't make it work. I mean, I assume you've done it successfully before in the past, right? Do you have any opinion on the matter?
Well, I mean, it certainly helps to have speech. It's not a particularly high speech check, if I remember correctly, but you have to kind of step through the whole thing, convince her that she's that the caravan's really tied her down, and that she'd be better off if she would just sell the thing and get out from under the NCR. You have to have done the side quest for Major Jackson, I think is his name, at the outpost, where you go kill the ants.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Because if you haven't done that, when you try to talk to her, she'll tell you to talk to him because he won't let anybody, do anything until, things are cleared up.
So, gosh, I had a question. I forgot what it was all of a sudden. When you're getting Cass, and I have a high speech now because I pumped it up, but it's been a while since I tried. Did I ruin my chances by attempting to making her my follower and failing those speech checks earlier, or can I pass them now that my speech is higher? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm not certain. I don't think I've ever had a time when I haven't been able to convince her.
All right. Well, I need to go back courting around because there's something stalling very weirdly in that quest. Isn't there you have to go to some trading center someplace.
Well, so you go to the Crimson Caravan headquarters outside of New Vegas.
And there's some snooty lady there.
Right. You get there's 3 different quests that she'll give you after. So first you go in, you talk to her, you get to deliver an invoice to Professor Hildren over at the airport.
Are you looking at a wiki or do you just know this shit? Right?
No, this one I'm just taking off the top of my head.
Oh my lord.
So after you talk to him, now at that point there's another quest you can get from him, or you can just stick with the business and tell him, pay your invoice. And then he'll tell you that the Crimson Caravan runs a tight ship and that, he'll get it paid right away. Then she'll give you 3 more jobs to do. And one of them is to convince Cassidy to sell her caravan company. And, she'll tell you that, sometimes it's easier to buy your competition than to fight it out with them.
And after you convince Cassidy to sell her company is when she can then become your follower.
Right. Because once you've successfully, convinced her to sell it, then she says, well, I don't really have anything else to do now. And you can tell her, well, you can just follow me.
Great. Cool. He said he had enough caps to get into Vegas, but he didn't quite go in yet. I can't tell you how long. I didn't understand that they didn't take the 2,000 caps from you. So I was trying to raise 4,000 or 5,000 caps just so I could have caps, so I wouldn't go in with 0. I'm just a big dummy.
Yeah. It's just a credit check.
Yes. Yeah. Just a credit check. All right, Chris, thank you so much for the feedback. Ray, do you have any more thoughts about Chris's awesome piece of feedback there?
So I'm going to have to look into, I don't recall ever seeing the stuff inside Doc Mitchell's house being read. So definitely got to check that out.
With infamy from Good Springs.
I don't think anything that you do in Doc Mitchell's house has any impact on Good Springs before you walk out the first time.
Yeah. What if you accidentally swipe something in his house? Then will he be aggro and everything else is marked stolen from then? No, they wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I
don't know.
I just can't think of a time when I've had that come up.
Great. All right, awesome. Well, thanks again, Chris, for your nice piece of feedback. And before we move on to Joe, I'd like to take a moment to pause for station identification. You are listening to the Fallout Feed, only on ASA Podcasting. And brought to you by GameStack.
Shalene Landia. Oh, Miss Effie was her name. Through the West she won her fame.
Vendertron, Rick, and I are proud to present GameStack, part of We Just Love Games, the podcast dedicated to bringing you everything gaming and some not-so-gamey topics.
With the success Shalene and I had with Katie Radio and Fallout Off the Record had with Shalene and Rick, imagine what we can do together.
And you can catch us live at twitch.tv/We Just Love Games on Fridays at 6 p.m. Mountain Time and 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also find us on Twitter at We Just Love Games and on our YouTube channel, We Just Love Games.
Game Stack, because we just love games.
I'll never, never do it again.
It's so happy sounding. Really has been an enjoyable podcast. I listened to the first 2 episodes they had. It was good.
Yeah, I love GameStack. Let's go ahead and check in with Craig. Craig was on vacation, so he just sent in an email, which I pre-read and recorded here. So we'll check in with me, checking in with Craig. Hi, we have a feedback email here from Craig. Thanks for writing in, Craig. Craig writes, sorry, I was on vacation in the wizarding world of Harry Potter. Go Slytherin. So I didn't get a chance to record my feedback. I wanted to get this in, though. Vacation, but never got around to it. Trash Cantina, Caesar's Legion. Went into Novak and met Boone. He asked me to help find the killer of his wife. The first person I ran into was No Bark, and I asked him to follow me to the dinosaur, and I let Boone kill him. Went back to Boone, was pretty pissed at me. He would only say, "Get the hell away from me." When I tried to talk to him, oh well, his loss. Waited around and finally met Manny. He wanted me to clear out some ghouls before he could tell me what I wanted to know. Jason Bright tasked me with the various stuff that has already been discussed. Ready to launch, I convinced Chris to sabotage the rockets. All he needed was sugar bombs. I remembered that little kid at the trading post had some, so I stole them from him and headed back. We launched the rockets to a spectacular explosion. Manny was happy the ghouls were gone, so he told me to go to Boulder City to meet up with the Great Khans. Headed there, and there was a hostage standoff. I talked to the Khans into letting the hostages go, and talked the NCR into letting the Khans go, so everybody was happy, and I finally got the name and the whereabouts of the guy who shot me. I tried to start some shit by shooting the NCR memorial that supposedly starts a small side quest, but it didn't work. Might need to do it before Boulder City Showdown, but no one seemed to care. Headed into New Vegas. I had already been in there doing some work for the Garretts. So I made it to the tops and confronted Benny. He comped me a suite and told me to wait up there for him. I usually do the Black Widow option here and kill him in his sleep, but decided to play it another way. He ended up sending some goons after me instead. I took care of them pretty easily, but the rat fled. I left the casino and was greeted by one of Caesar's Frumentari, Vulpus and Colta. Caesar finally wanted to meet with me. I headed right to the fort, and guess who was there? Benny. He had been captured. I spoke with one of the soldiers that ran the fighting pit, and he told me that he did not run the kitchens, and women did not get to fight. I think I might have made a horrible mistake by coming here. Too late now. I guess I need to make Caesar like me and not worry about what his whelps think. Caesar wanted me to open a vault with the platinum chip and destroy what was in there. I did that and was rewarded with choosing how Benny died. I decided to combat him. Who is fighting in the arena now, asshole? All right. Thanks for writing in, Craig. That's great. I hope you had a great time, and with all the butterbeer for breakfast. Hope that washed down the every flavor beans. That's something, right? Super well acquainted with the Harry Potter stuff, right?
Harry who?
That's kind of what I thought. Your kids are a little old for the Harry Potter stuff, probably. Yeah, Craig. That's awesome. Trash Cantina is a great name. The Legion would not let a woman fight in the arena. Why do they?
The Legion's pretty well because that's not what they feel the role of a woman is.
They're slavers. They don't have freaking morals, and oh, jeez. I guess they do. They're just kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Oh man. So
but they're soon to be my people.
Join up with them. Nice. Now we'll be at odds then, because I am dealt the hand of NCR.
Yep.
I've tried to make a fresh with Jackson. I've done a couple of his side quests, but he ran out of side quests pretty quickly. I thought he was going to be one of those guys, kind of like in Skyrim and the Dark Brotherhood, where they just keep sending you out on like random missions and stuff. I thought he was
no, he's pretty much just got that one.
Yeah, I thought he was going to have a bunch of stuff to do. There's got to be someone around who's going to give me a bunch of NCR crap to do. So Boone, is there only one person that is guilty, correct? I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And it's I don't remember her name. It's that old lady with the glasses, right? But I thought it was funny. The first couple times I tried it, I just couldn't figure out what it was trying to make me do. So I also was just like putting the hat on random people and taking them out front of the dinosaur. Again? No? You still mad? Oh, okay. Reload.
Yeah.
No? Okay. Sorry. No, reload. You just killed the whole town, one save at a time.
Yeah, and you have to go through all the steps to discover that she's the one that's guilty, because you can't just, you don't get the speech dialogue with her to get her to go out in front until you've gone through all the steps.
Yeah.
But I do love No Bark.
Yeah, tell me about No Bark.
So, he's the crazy conspiracy theorist guy that is just kind of wandering around muttering, thinking that the Martians are coming, and he talks about the chupacabras, which is really the Nightkin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's not wrong about anything except, the actual details of stuff. He's right about the big picture, but he's got all the details wrong.
He's a nut bar.
But he's pretty funny.
What happened to those rockets after they took off? One of them looked kind of screwy, looked like it was going to crash.
Yeah, no, they all straighten out and then, off they go.
Do they live happily ever after in space?
Yep.
Where were they going specifically?
The great beyond.
Just out there.
Yep.
Somewhere out there, right? All right. Anything else I had here for Craig? Let me see. Oh, he stole the sugar bombs from a little kid. I thought that was funny. Why did he need the sugar bombs again?
Sugar in the gas tank.
There you go. Because he was
sabotaging the rockets.
So what happens when you sabotage the rockets? Do all three of them just sort of like
they crash into each other and explode?
Or they actually take off and explode? Oh, nice. Yeah. Wonderful. That's really cool. I'm glad people are playing all these things different ways. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of this the Roundtable project.
Yeah, there's so many facets to New Vegas, which is one of the things that really makes it so fabulous. So there's so many threads that weave around, and everybody with their unique roles and their different attributes find these things and are able to share them with us.
That's really awesome. I thought that it was also cool that he got to choose how Benny died as his reward for going and doing that quest for the Legion, and then women could fight, right? Because his character's a girl, right?
Yeah, because they don't have a choice at that point.
Yeah. So good one, Craig. That's really cool. You made the Legion bend their will a little bit. That's fun. Make them play on your terms, man. That's great.
Yeah,
All right.
there's definitely a lot of ways to play this ring-a-ding.
Ring a ding ding, baby. Anything else, Ray?
No, I'm just I'm glad. So between Marcus and Craig and Leon, their characters are carrying the baggage for the kill everybody crowd.
Oh, sweet.
So, gotta love that.
Need to be well represented.
Indeed.
Great. So thanks so much, Craig, for writing into the show, and we will continue on with Joe. Thanks for writing in there, Joe.
Hi guys, my name is Joe. And yes, I'm the one who sent in the corrupted feedback last time. But hopefully this time it will be better and will actually work. So I'm going to do a Cliff Notes version of Feedback 1, just so you're able to hear what my character's all about. And then I'll head into Feedback 2. Hopefully this won't take too long. Don't want to take up too much time. So let's get right into it. My character's name is Robin Bell, and she belongs to the faction Caesar's Legion. She has a strength of 2, perception of 6, endurance of 9, charisma of 4, intelligence of 3, and luck of 7. The 3 skills are science, explosive, and unarmed, along with my 2 traits being built to destroy and fast shot. Also, my companion is going to be Eddie for this playthrough. So after I left Doc Mitchell's house and did all of the Ain't That a Kick in the Head missions, which are very pointless in my opinion, I went to Sunny Smiles, helped her clear the wells, and I did save the prospector that was out there. And she also taught me how to survive with, I believe it's Brock flower and Xander root to make the healing powder. And then I actually picked for siding with the town or siding with the powder gangers. I figured that with Robin's beliefs, it would fit better if she belonged to the powder gangers. And I feel like it would have actually helped a little bit with upcoming missions if I was siding with them. So I sided with the powder gangers. I killed Joe Cobb, shook Chet down for some supplies, and then I fought the town. And obviously we won because the courier is probably one of the strongest people in the entire game. And then I made my way to Prim. I stopped at the one site to get the star bottle cap and everything, and continued my way to Prim. And when I saw the NCR there, when he came out and warned me, I didn't really do anything in the moment. But then once I did go to Prim and kill all the powder gangers, I realized that they could have done what I just did a lot more effectively if they were to actually put in the time. So that's where Robin's disdain for the NCR comes, and her sympathy with the Legion begins. And then for the My Kind of Town mission, after you clear out the powder gangers and talk to the people, they give you the option of going under NCR rule, going to the NCR correctional facility, and getting I'm blanking on his Beagle, I think, or I can't remember the guy's name. I ended up going to the NCR facility and getting the sheriff there because, again, I didn't really like the NCR. I didn't like how they weren't kind of being proactive with civilians in their territory. So I went and got the sheriff. I got him the pardon so he could be the law in Prim. And then I I accidentally shot one of the NCR troopers, and then I just kind of spiraled from there, killing all of them at the outpost outside of Prim. And nothing happened. There was no karma. Well, there was karma gone, but the NCR didn't really react to it. It's probably because I killed them all, but they didn't really react to it. And so I just kept on my way. And I made my way up to the Mojave outpost, talked to a few people in there, got the mission to go to Nipton. The Cold Heart mission, obviously, is at Nipton, so I wanted to get a few extra caps for going to talk and going to find out what's there. And on my way there, I ran into a guy who came up to me saying, "Did you see that? Did you see that lady shoot at me or try to kill me?" And I actually killed him for his star bottle caps. I've never actually completed the star bottle cap mission, so I wanted to see what happens. So if I come across anybody with them, I'm probably going to kill them. And when I made it to Nipton, I saw the Legion. I saw what they were doing. I heard Vulpus and Kalta's pitch on why they were there and what they were doing. And Robin completely agreed with them, agreed that these kinds of people need to be enslaved or destroyed. After I returned to the Ranger, I told her what happened in Nipton, and I spreaded the legions of atrocities to the one caravan guard, or I believe he was a caravan guard, or maybe he was an NCR trooper. I did the atrocities, and then I kind of just moved on. And I made my way to Novak for the second part of the feedback. And when I got there, it was nighttime, so Boone was up in the dinosaur. I talked to him, got the mission from him, because I know he does give you, I think, an NCR beret. And I kind of just wanted to get that mission done with, to get a little bit more XP to level up. And I knew who it was, so it only took a few seconds to get the evidence, kill the person, everything else. And I won't ruin it, just in case a listener or somebody else playing has not actually done that mission for whatever reason. But then I did get the mission from the other guy that's in the dinosaur. I'm blanking again on who it was. But I talked to him, got the mission to go up to the Repcon facility, and so I started clearing them out on the outside, made my way inside, and was greeted with Chris on a loudspeaker telling me to make my way up to the top floor, and there they will talk to me. And I met with Jason Bright, who told me that I needed to get rid of the monsters downstairs, or the Nightkin. And obviously they're very easily, they're not going to attack you if you're down there. They're not going to become hostile as long as you stay within a small area. So that's what I did. I didn't want to have to deal with the Nightkin right now. I wanted them somewhat on my side. So I ended up killing the one ghoul that was held up down there, just to kind of push the mission forward. I never saw it as any real significance if he was killed or not. So I just ended up killing him. And then told the Nightkin that there was no more stealth boys, that they had to go somewhere else for him. So I went back up to Jason Bright, told him the good news. And that's where I believe the Come Fly With Me mission starts, where you've got to just go and collect the isotope and the igniting agent. Can't remember. And basically, I finished the mission with Chris staying and them successfully doing the launch, just for the good karma and allowing the ghouls to kind of get out of there. So then I went back to the person in the dinosaur. Cannot remember his name. I know I'll remember it the moment I stop this feedback, but they went and got the They Went That Way mission from him and was told to go to Boulder City. No, it was Manny Vargas, as I'm reading the quest descriptions. I was told to go there because that's where they were heading. And so I proceeded there. Ran into the NCR, and again, they told me that some of their soldiers were captured by the cons. And I told them I could probably go and talk to them and calm the cons down and convince them to release the soldiers. So as I was talking to him, I got Benny's lighter, and I was told where Benny went, obviously to the strip. And I convinced him to let the NCR soldiers go. I walked back out, and of course, the NCR was told to kill the cons anyway. But I didn't want that to happen. I convinced the officer to let them live because it was the honorable thing to do, and they did so. And honestly, I wanted to get out of there before I actually started killing them because, again, I actually personally, and with Robin's beliefs, I do believe the NCR is very flawed in how they conduct, I guess, business. So I wanted to get out of there before something bad happened and my reputation went down with the NCR. I would prefer the hit squads to not come after me just yet. From there, I actually did a few missions before I went to Ring-a-Ding-Ding. And I went to the Crimson Caravan Company to just gain a few caps and build a little bit of a reputation there. And one of my missions was to go and get the title for Cassidy Caravans. So I went and got Cass. I did her missions, which I can't remember at this point most of her mission, but I convinced her eventually to give up the company and kind of move on. And then I went also to the Van Graffs because I knew that their mission also included Cassidy. So I was doing their missions. I did a run for the Legion, brought Cassidy Caravan to Jean, and of course, she was killed. I did the rest of the Van Graff missions just because I needed the money. And I was not happy with the ending because I actually had never finished the Van Graff missions. It kind of made me mad that they went back on the Legion. So after that mission, I just kind of got out of there and decided to go and do Ring-a-Ding-Ding. So I went to Mick and Ralph's to get the passport because I didn't want to have to pay the money to get in. So then I go back and I get into the strip. First place I go is to the Tops, obviously, because Benny's there. And I went in planning to kill him, but then I remembered I have done somewhat of a Legion playthrough, and I remembered that the Legion will get their hands on him if he escapes. So I did the mission just right, and obviously Benny escaped the Tops Casino. But after I left, I ended up being confronted by Elite. I think it was Vulpus and Culpta again, and then also the NCR correspondent came and told me that if I want to work with the NCR, to go and see the Ambassador Crocker. And Vulpus and Culpta, I believe, told me to go to Cottonwood something. I'm blanking a little bit. Cottonwood Cove, I think it is. So I worked. So after that, I guess that's where Feedback 2 ends. I know this was a little bit long, but I did want to try to put both feedbacks in. And that's it. I just want to say that obviously I love the show. And thank you.
Drivers, start
Your engine!
your engines!
Calling all fans of Mario Kart to assemble for our newest ASA podcasting project called ASA Pod Karting. Grab your Switch and hit us up at asapodkarting@gmail.com for more information.
Welcome to Mario Kart!
Hey, Joe. That was really awesome. Thanks so much for that great feedback. Don't sweat that they cut out the first time we had technical difficulties. If you ever listen to our podcast, you know that we have tons of technical difficulties all the time. So thanks so much for
our technical difficulties.
What we are. So yeah, thanks so much for filling us in on what we missed out the first time and what you've been up to. Ray, did you have any thoughts immediately off the top of your head there?
I could hear Mr. New Vegas radio playing in the background.
Yeah, I couldn't quite make out what was going on. Could you tell what was happening?
It was just one of his regular, spiels that he does, between songs.
Oh, okay. So it was just
his little shtick.
That boy radio.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Cool.
So yeah, he's definitely doing a good job tying his characters, role play into the decisions that he's making in the game. So that's that's definitely interesting to hear him tie that together.
It definitely sounds like he has played the game a couple of times before too. Probably sounds like he's fairly familiar.
Yeah.
Couple of thoughts here. The pointless tutorials, of course. He pardoned the sheriff. I like doing that. That was the first time I've ever done that. Was just now. He accidentally killed everyone at the NCR outpost. Accidentally, quote unquote. And I pity any person in his playthrough who just happens to have Star bottle cap in their pocket when he approaches them, because it is not going to be a good outlook for them. Looks like he's going to kill everyone who has a Star bottle cap. Can you remind me about the Star bottle cap thing again? You have to collect like 1 billion of them, and it does something of minor consequence, right?
Yeah, I think it takes 30.
No, that's not so many.
Yeah. And you take them to the little character machine in the bottling facility in their lobby. I can't remember. He's a cowboy. And you feed those in, and it ends up opening up a safe with a bunch of loot in it.
Oh, nice. good loot. That's always nice.
Yep.
Let's see.
That you can't get to if unless you have given him the bottle caps, because I've tried that too. To take out all the robots and everything that are patrolling around. They won't bother you if you're, if you've got the key, but if you try to break in, they'll fight you.
They're not big fans of that.
No.
So he also expressed concern about spoilers. I think that we've declared that you can drop everything. All information is up for grabs. Go ahead and talk about whatever you want to talk about. I don't think we're going to try to stay spoiler free for this game that was released in almost a decade ago, right, Ray? Something like that.
Yeah, it'd be a tall order.
Yeah. He wanted the Nightkin on his side. Have we heard someone play from that angle? What's going on there?
Well, it's if you don't attack them, while you go through the that basement area, before you talk to oh gosh, what's his name? Henderson something. Oh shit, I can't remember. Not Harlan, not the guy that's
the ghoul.
The ghoul, but the main Nightkin guy.
Oh, okay.
Talks to Antler.
Davidson. No.
David. Yeah.
I forget his name.
Yeah. But so if you're not hostile towards the Nightkin when you're going through there, but you do have to sneak, because they will attack you if they find you wandering around in the corridors. But if you just hang a left out of the room and then hang a right, you'll go right to his space, and you don't really have to kill any of them to get there.
Oh, nice. But he did kill the ghoul who was holed up down there.
Well, so in order to get to the terminal where you find out about the stealth boys, so that you can go back and tell the Nightkin that they're there for no reason and they should leave.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So when you go to that terminal, then Harlan becomes hostile to you.
Oh, okay.
And you'll have to kill him.
Poor buddy. He's been down there so long.
But there's a lot of traps in that room. You have to be careful.
He said he had to go get the isotope and stuff like that. It just reminded me. Don't you find that on a dead person who's wearing a rad suit?
Yeah.
Locations. I picked up the rad suit and I gave that to Boone, and at the end of the quest you can pick up the red spacesuit. So I've got the red spacesuit on, and Boone's got the yellow rad suit. I think it looks really fun running around like spacemen together.
Yeah, I saw those pictures in the Facebook group. They were pretty funny.
NCR favor. He seems to have some problem with the NCR, like how they deal with the political side of their operations.
Yeah, so that's part of the role play that he's got going on.
Yeah. Van Graff. Am I supposed to know what that was?
So that's one of the Freeside groups that you run into if you wander around Freeside a bit.
Okay. Are they like greasers?
No, they're the weapons dealers.
The weapons dealers.
Oh wait, no, or are they the Atomic Wrangler people? No, they're the weapons dealers.
There are too many factions in this game.
Yeah, they're everywhere. Yeah, but part of that quest line with them is, they've got they have prior run-ins with Cassidy's caravan, and so they want to take her out.
Oh, okay. That's nice that they weave it back around to a familiar character. That's cool.
Yeah, unless you like Cassidy, and then you're, screwed because they kill her.
Well, then can't you just kill them? No?
Well, you could kill them beforehand.
Well, sometimes a preemptive strike, Ray. Mick and Ralph's for the passport. Did anyone go through that method when we were talking about it?
I don't think so. I think we all had enough caps on us.
That's fun because the first time I ever tried to play the game, I did go and do the passport method because I was trying to, skimp on caps. That's a pretty fun little thing. Do you know how that goes?
It's been so long since I've done that.
Yeah.
I usually have the caps on me.
Well, Mr. Moneybags, looky loo. All right. Well, thanks so much, Joe, for the great feedback. Please keep them coming. Also, Chris, thanks for yours. Please keep them coming. Speaking of coming up, we have Casey. So we'll go ahead and reach up to the great white north of Wisconsin and say hello to Casey.
Hello, Fallout Roundtable and the Fallout feed. This is Casey with my, episode 4 or 5 feedback. I'm basically going to go up through Ring-a-Ding, I believe. I started last time just making it to Novak, and I just met Manny and Boone and the motel owner. And who else? The dinosaur gift shop guy is cool because he plays Caravan, and I can take his money every few hours if I go back to him. So Manny or Boone, one of the two, they tell me that they know where Benny went, but they won't tell me until I help them, one of them. So I had to go to a nearby building. I had to clear out, or I had to meet up with some ghouls. I was supposed to clear out the ghouls. There was a problem for Manny. But when I got there, they were intelligent, and let's see. So they actually asked for my help. So I decided to try to get them to leave peacefully instead of murdering all of them. So I ended up having to go into the basement, killing a bunch of invisible super mutants. And then I had to help them fix their spaceship. It turns out they're kind of like a weird cult. And they were trying to ascend to heaven or whatever through using these rockets. So I helped them get the rockets up and running. This mission was quite lengthy. It was most of my gameplay probably for this session. But I got up to the observation deck and I helped them launch the rockets. I was a little confused at this part. I thought it said that my science wasn't high enough to press the button, but then it let me press the button anyway and the rockets took off and they were fine, I guess. I was wondering what would happen if my science was higher. But let's see. So I gained notoriety from Novak for clearing out the ghouls from this building. And then I went back to Novak. I spoke to Manny. He told me where Benny headed, or which way he went anyway. And Boone also told me his life story, and I decided to stay another day and help him figure out who sold his wife into slavery. Or off to slavers, or who killed him, who killed her, or whatever. So I did some lock picking and stealing, and I discovered it was the oh my god, I can't think of her name. Anyway, the motel owner had done it. So per Boone's instructions, I told her to follow me. We went out front in front of the dinosaur, and Boone killed her. And after that, Boone was kind of purposeless and he was going to take off, but I convinced him to come follow me for a while because I didn't have a follower at this point, and he had a sniper rifle, which I figured I could use. So he came with me, We went up in the direction that Manny said to go to find Benny. And we came across Boulder City. This was my first time meeting the NCR, I think. They had a whole army group there. And they were all worried because of some great cons who had kidnapped a few of their buddies and were inside the city. And apparently they couldn't do anything with the great cons, so they needed me to go in, basically by myself. So I went in, I helped them, I cleared out the great cons, freed their soldiers, and then I found out Benny had moved on already to New Vegas. But I was not too impressed with NCR's fighting skills at this point, since I had to go and single-handedly do what like 12 of them couldn't do. Seemed weird. Anyway, so I made it over. I walked over to the entrance to the Vegas Strip. I explored around the outside a bit, did some shopping, made it into the Strip. Got summoned immediately by Mr. House, who wanted to hire me to get the chip from Benny. He told me where Benny was. He told me he had the chip, and he wanted the chip. I think he offered me 1,000 caps for it. So this was kind of the final portion of Ring-a-Ding, and for me it was super easy. It was kind of cheating, I guess. I don't know what else happens. I don't know what's supposed to happen, but the very first perk I took was Black Widow. So I was just able to go into the casino, go right up to Benny and say, hey, let's go upstairs to your room and be alone for a while. And he was like, okay, let's go. And after like 6 Black Widow speech checks, go up to his room, we have sex, and then the next morning it just gives you a pop-up screen that says, do you want to wake him up or do you want to kill him? So I just killed him in his sleep. No need to fight, no conflict with anybody else. And then I just take the chip off of his body. And then I believe that's the end of Ring-a-Ding. So I guess the options now are to keep the chip for myself or bring it back to Mr. House. Let's see. So that's where the roundtable missions end. I hope we keep going because from now until the end of the game is where I think it gets interesting. Plus, I still have yet to meet Raoul, my assigned companion, and I still have yet to meet Yes Man, who is my assigned faction. But I was at this point able to get my tag skills up to at least 70 each. I believe repair, sneak, and energy weapons were all 70. And I finally got some good energy weapons from, there's an energy weapon store outside of the strip, which I stole a bunch of stuff from. And I was able to level up a few times and take some perks. I took the professional, which he did show up a few times when I was fighting anyone strong. He always shows up when I'm shooting at like mole rats or something. And I took adamantium skeleton, which saved me a lot of money on doctor bills because my limbs were constantly broken. I took better criticals and meltdown, which I don't even remember what that is. And let's see. So I wrote down that having a low medicine is terrible because it seems like all the speech checks are medicine related. And I wrote down that I do not understand ammo breakdown and ammo crafting. So hopefully someone on the show can maybe explain that a little bit. And that's where I ended up at this point. I got the chip from Benny and I was able to kill him and get my revenge. So thank you for listening, everyone. I hope this wasn't too long, and see you later.
Meltdown is a perk in Fallout New Vegas when a target has its hit points reduced to 0 by an energy weapon. This perk will trigger an explosion centered on the target, similar to a plasma grenade explosion, but smaller. The explosion can cause critical hits and sneak attack criticals, potentially killing nearby targets and propagating further meltdowns. All right, what's that mean, Ray?
That sounds pretty good. Yeah, so when you shoot somebody with your energy weapon, they explode.
And it sounds like they can cause more explosions, which will cause more explosions or something.
Well, they'll cause people around them to take damage.
Okay.
From the explosion.
Nice. Very cool. So that's why he tied it in, because he has energy weapons as one of his skills. And he seems to be doing I need to get all 3 of my skills at the same rate raising, instead of where I did like 1. I definitely favored my speech very early on, and I got that to 100 well before my others. Do you have all of your assigned stuff at 100 already, Ray?
No, I'm not that far along yet.
Yeah, neither am I. I've got one of mine is at 100, but the other 2 are like really far behind. I think maybe only 40 and 50. I definitely don't have everything up to 70. And that also brought up another question to me, Ray. Do you know how the world levels up? Like, for some reason in my head, I think Skyrim works in a way that, like, if you concentrate too hard on one skill, that can be a bad thing, because it can help you level up, which in turn makes all your bad guys in the world also level up at the same rate. But then if you want to level up your other skills later on, it makes it really freaking hard, because all your enemies are super high level like you are, but the skill you're trying to level up that you've been ignoring the whole time until now is super, super fucking weak. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the enemies are just leveling up based on, the actual level that you're at.
Yeah.
So when you get to level 10, it triggers the enemies to
this round enemies, yeah,
to go up, and then they each have their their skill spreads, and those just naturally progress with their level.
Yeah. Do you know ammo crafting 101? Casey would like to be filled in on the basics.
Yeah, so that it's definitely not easy. So what do you need? So you need lead for the bullet, you need casings, you need powder, and you need primers. And the different kinds of bullets require, there's a short rifle, long rifle, pistol, and each one has a different different amount of powder that it uses, a different primer that it uses, and you have to have casings specific for that size bullet, and so that's how you make it.
Where are these different components acquired?
You can buy them. You can, if you have a particular size of bullet that you don't use, you can break those down and get some of the components that way. You definitely have to get the casings. Now, the casings oftentimes you'll find on, corpses. So you'll see, they use a 10 millimeter gun. They'll have 10 millimeter casings.
Yeah. Definitely have plenty of casings, and those are weightless. So I've been picking those up because, why not? But I'm in Casey's boat. I still haven't figured out how. What other sort of crafting is it? Just sort of like the ammo and the weapon repair? There's not any. Is there? I assume armor is.
Yeah, you can make different gun mods and stuff like that,
Okay.
depending on your skills.
Very cool. Did you have anything from Casey's feedback that you would like to mention?
So the people that he got the energy weapons from were the Van Graffs.
Oh, there we go. It all comes back around in the end.
Yeah.
He is suspect of the NCR's fighting skills because there's 12 guys who couldn't do what he had to do by himself. I thought that was good. Do you know anything about Black Widow and how Ring-a-Ding?
Yeah. So, so when you go into the casino, and Benny will be down on the casino floor, you can walk up to him and have a conversation with him, and he'll freak out that you're alive and that you're there, and he'll kind of try to kind of play it a little bit to see what your intentions are.
Whoa, baby, let's relax, baby.
And with Black Widow, you can engage in a conversation with them about that you're perfectly okay with him shooting you in the head. You think he's a really interesting guy, and you want to go up to his room with him.
No, why wouldn't any young lady would be lucky?
And so he he definitely makes a comment about it being a little twisted, but that doesn't stop him.
Of course not. Why would it? He seems like a classy guy to me. I mean,
straight up guy.
Anyone in that jacket screams class.
Yeah. So he's he's up in the room. The screen goes black,
and then he said an option menu pops up with like, "Do you want to kill this motherfucker?"
Yeah. And so
cool. How does it works? Does it work in a similar fashion in 4? I don't feel like it pops up a screen when you want to use it in Fallout 4.
No, it's just a dialogue thing.
Yeah. He said he had in order to succeed though, he had like 6 speech checks.
Yeah, so there's a series of because he's like, really, you want to do this.
Yeah.
And so it just goes through a series of speech checks.
An adamantium skeleton, that's a damage resistance, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, it keeps your limbs from being damaged.
Oh, okay. So you don't have to go back. He said he was constantly having to repair his limbs and stuff. I do that too. I know I've expressed it in a previous episode, but I'm still furious that mines do not pop up in my vets. That is the worst thing ever. I'm in Casey's boat here. I'm constantly going back to doctors, getting my legs fucking sewn back on. It's horrible.
I don't know. That's not an issue for me.
I know. I don't know what they look like yet. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I think I'm
round things. They've got a little orange light in the middle of them.
It's just like, boom. All right. Yes.
Yeah, they're not as easy. They're not as easy to disarm and grab as they are in 4.
And I think they're harder to see, and they don't pop up in your vats. So they're really fucking evil in this game. They're crazy. Okay, I think that's all I had on Casey's notes there. So thanks so much, Casey, for sending in your feedback there. Let's go ahead and check in with Leon. Leon sent in another great feedback. I really enjoyed Leon's first batch. So let's go ahead and say hi to Leon.
Good day, this is Leon from Texas playing Jinxie for the Fallout New Vegas Roundtable Season 4. So just recently made level 30 with Jinxie. I posted her current stats, skills, that kind of stuff up on Facebook. So on the Facebook pages, all that kind of stuff. So for the quest for this episode, for the They Went That Away, I actually just went into Manny's room and checked the computer, got the information I needed, and then continued on to Boulder City. And I'll get back into that later. Then Come Fly With Me, I actually later came back into this quest. For that one, well, I've discovered that Jinxie really dislikes stupid people. And that's really going to come into play in this quest because, well, we'll get into that. So we go up to the RepCon facility, the test area, and kill the ghouls that are just the ferals that are standing outside. And we go inside and we hear the voice from the speaker, and then we go up and talk up the stairs and stuff, kill a couple other ghouls, stuff like that. Then get to the other speaker, and Chris opens up the door, and he sounds like a ghoul. So when you see him, when you find out he's a human, you're like, whoa, okay. Which my character was just like, whatever, you're obviously got something wrong in your head. And then you talk to Jason, and he tells you that, you know, the demons have shown up. And so then you go downstairs and you fight the demons. I actually, you know, I tend to always go right first. So I went right, and eventually I found the jailer, and I found the dead female ghoul. And then I came back out and kept exploring, and I found Harlan and told him about his friends when he took off. And then I met Antler and the Nightkin, and I've already been to Jacobstown with Jinxie by the time I did this quest. So I knew what the Nightkin were, but Antler said that I had to die, so I killed the Nightkin leader. And then I actually opened up the underground area with the rockets and went and explored everything and took all the stuff I wanted out of there before I went back and told Jason that I had cleared out the demons. And on the last actual episode y'all talked about Harlan, and every time I've done this quest in the past and Harlan has lived, he's actually shown up with the Bright followers, the cult, and you can actually talk to him, and he says that he's decided to stay. I think he says because of the female ghouls, but I'm not sure if that, I might be confusing that with his friend. But that's where I always see him. And if he survives and you later fix the rockets, then if you look down in the little area when Jason's giving his speech, he'll sometimes wander around in there. He actually doesn't. I watched this time specifically because I wanted to see, and he does not actually jump into one of the rockets. He just kind of keeps walking, at least on mine. So anyways, that's going a little bit further ahead. So then Jason and all his followers go running down into the underground area, and then you get down there and he tells you that Chris needs your help and blah, blah, blah. So I go get the things. I'd already got all the rocket fuel because I had explored the RepCon headquarters earlier, and there's actually you can get from Cliff at the dinosaur area, you can get the rockets, or you can also get them from the RepCon headquarters, which you can explore. And if you go into the gift shop there's a locked door, and you can open that locked door and there'll be enough in there, so you don't have to worry about it that way. That way you don't have to actually rob Cliff if you don't want to. So either way works. Went to Gibson, bartered her down to get the caps cheaper, paid the caps, then brought that back with that. And then my character, she has a Black Widow. And so when she's talking to Chris, she actually kind of said, well, you know, I think it's something like balding guys are attractive or something like that. Because if you talk to him, one of the reasons why he thinks he's going ghoul is because he's going bald. He's losing his hair, and he thinks it was because the vault that he had been in, he was part of the reactor. The people that watch the reactors, and so when he started losing hair, he thought he was turning into a ghoul. So my character is like, but she finds bald guys attractive, and you know, she thinks he's cute or something like that. And so he's like, oh my god, I'm a human, blah blah blah. Because what sane woman would want to sleep with a ghoul? And not counting Hancock, because Hancock is just cool. But so he gets aggravated, and my character, yeah, she just doesn't like stupid people. And Jason, I'm sorry, he's an idiot. He's got some fanciful dream that just ain't gonna happen. And he's kind of used Chris, and that's kind of truthfully kind of shitty. You know, he and then he makes his big speech about, you know, later on about how, you know, my character and Chris are redeeming the sins of humanity against ghouls. And so anyways, I convinced Chris to that he needs to get even with Jason, so he needed the sugar bombs. So I ran to Cliff at the dinosaur, and he had the sugar bombs I needed, so I bought the sugar bombs there, brought them back, gave them to Chris, and he sabotaged the fuels. Then, just to make sure, when I went up to the launch bay, I programmed the flight computers to crash the rockets. So not only were their fuel sabotaged, but their computers were sabotaged. So yeah, they took off and blew up. That was pretty funny. So anyways, frankly, Jinxie's like, you know, good riddance to bad rubbish. And if ghouls can breed, then good, because Darwin Award winners right there. So then that's it with Come Fly With Me. So back to, they went that way. I get up to Boulder City, and she talks to the NCR guy, and the cons are in their little area with the NCR hostages. And so Jinxie walks up and talks to them, and they're like, "Oh my God, you're the lady that Benny shot." And then they're like, you know, Benny double crossed us. And so Jinxie's like, "Okay, that's pretty funny. You guys are idiots, but you're not too bad. And I might need you later." So she couldn't convince them to walk out at the time. She didn't have a high enough speech. So she wound up going back and talking to the NCR. She could have just killed them, but she might need the cons later. And she also felt they kind of got a little bit of a raw deal from Benny, because, you know, if you make a contract with a mercenary, you should get paid. I know Jinxie expects to get paid when she does her work. So she felt a little kind of, you know, sad about that in a way, even though they did try to help kill her. So she went back to the NCR and bribed the NCR lieutenant, I think it's a lieutenant, anyways, the officer, and he let the cons go. So yeah, she continued on to New Vegas, got to New Vegas, and then for Ring-a-Ding-Ding, again, that's one of those things where Benny is just frankly an idiot. So Jinxie walked into the Tops. Sorry, my brain fried for a second. She walked into the Tops, and she went straight up to Benny and started talking to him. And then he is, excuse me. And then so she talked to Benny and confronted him, and he's like, "Oh my God, you know, you're the lady I killed." And so she used Black Widow to come on to him. And he's like, "You know, you're all kinds of freaky." And she's like, "You know, yeah, but I like bad boys, and you're just been as bad as can be," which that's hilarious. So then her and Benny went upstairs, and so then they slept together. And then while Benny's asleep, after them sleeping together, Jinxie killed him and took his suit and took everything else, and then talked to Yes Man and headed back out. So that was my roundtable feedback for this episode. Overall, mainly it was Black Widow this time. It wasn't necessarily anything I got with the character generator, but taking that Black Widow perk is fun because it just makes some of those conversations pretty hilarious. Anyways, have a good one.
Hello and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Colleen.
I'm Amanda.
And I'm Shandy.
Broadcast.
Think of us as girls' night in podcast form.
Feminism,
sex,
relationships,
politics,
pop culture.
Nothing is off limits.
And we mean nothing.
So pop a bottle and grab a bag of Fritos.
I have really good chips here.
And come speak your feels with us. That's what she said.
The broadcast.
Proud member of Jay and Jack Productions and Blog Talk Radio.
Find us on iTunes or wherever else you get your podcasts.
That's another great batch of feedback. They're from Leon. Thank you, Leon. Checking in with Jinxie, all the way from Texas. She's all the way up to level 30. I'm not even close to 30 yet, right? What level are you at?
I think I'm like 13.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I'm 11, 12, somewhere in that ballpark. So people are busting our humps already, man.
He started up. He's been all over the place.
Yeah. He's already done everything. He's like, well, screw that quest. I've already done that, and I'll come back to this one later. And I'm just going to go ahead and go on to Boulder because I know how to check the terminal first and screw all you Nightkin over there and the ghouls over the Repcon. I'm just going to go to Boulder City directly.
Well, and poor Jason didn't stand a chance. Not, he did both the sugar in the gas tank and reprogrammed the flight control. So
he double sabotaged.
Yeah.
You can't double sabotage. That's crazy. The rocket fuel. That's a good point. I got it from the dead person with the yellow rad suit, but I also read online, and then Leon was just talking about it, and I think other people mentioned on the show that you can get them from those little rocket ships.
Right.
Behind a locked door in the gift shop in the crotch of the T-Rex is a locked door where you don't have to rob Cliff. So that's really fun. Yeah. So what else we got going on there, Ray?
It'll be interesting to see what other stuff he's done, outside of the quest. So he's been up to Jacobstown, which is the area where there's a Nightkin colony.
Oh.
So that place is interesting.
I was going to say Super Mutants, but that's like Black Mountain or something.
Right.
It's called. Jacobstown. I was going to say, is that where I have to take Rex to get his brain fixed? I haven't done that yet.
Yeah, I believe so.
And there's Nightkin there? Interesting.
Yep.
I'll have to go check that out. That sounds cool.
Yeah, my follower is there. Lily Bowen.
And you haven't been up there yet?
No, not yet.
Do you know anything about Billy? Is this someone you've known in past games?
I've never had her as a follower, but I've definitely interacted with her at Jacobstown before.
Oh, nice. I might try to cycle through some other followers just to see if I can see what they're like. You know me, I like a good follower. It's just unfortunate that for New Vegas we'll never get mods on consoles, because I'd love to get a good party of 10 or so to go out adventuring in the desert. So do we have anything else for Leon there, Ray?
Well, not surprisingly, Jinxie was a bad girl.
Jinxie's great. I love hearing about Jinxie.
Yeah, she seduces Benny. I think so. I'm trying to remember. I think he calls them, like a sick pussycat.
Oh. What I think either Leon or Casey, I don't even remember. Someone mentioned that you get his clothes. Does his jacket provide any, I don't know, perception or anything? What or does his clothes provide any
Mad style?
Mad style. That's it. I don't know.
I don't remember what it has.
It's probably not.
You always end up with it.
It's probably not.
It's there. You loot it. I don't know. It could look pretty stylish.
Yeah, you always want to wear the clothes of the men that you've smited, right?
Yep.
All right, thank you so much, Leon, and we will move on to our last little bit of feedback for the evening. All the way from New Zealand, we have our expat Steve. Steve, thank you so much for writing in again. And here we go.
All right. Hey, everybody. This is Steve with my episode of my playthrough for Fallout New Vegas. And so last when you heard me, I was heading off past Nipton and going to head north. So, of course, I got ambushed in that corner area, but fought those guys off. Watch out for the cones. And then I came across some caravan traders shooting it out with the Legion. Again, I was not engaging the Legion, so I don't end up with those hit squads coming after me. So I let the caravan take them out, and then I just cleaned up their bodies and sold it to the caravan right there. It was very convenient. I followed them some more and rinse and repeat with some raiders. Those caravan people really need to take care of their people, though, because one of them took a shot to the leg and she's just limping along way behind them. I wonder if they ever do heal up, or if I'm going to stumble across them one day and she's just going to be limping around behind them. I dropped the caravan off at an NCR outpost, but I didn't stick around or talk to anybody there. I headed off and we went and recovered Willow's rifle. So it's some of her toys. Again, that mod companion mod's pretty cool. Willow, it's very good. It's in depth. There's a lot of things to do with her, and after you get back her rifle, she becomes a full-fledged companion with the companion wheel and all that good stuff. Poked around Novak a little. Did the Chupacabra quest. What is the Nightkin doing hanging around there? Are those dead Brahmin going to sit in that pen forever? If I was the McBrides, I'd make a point to clear it out. That's a biohazard there around the other cattle. It's not like they have that many left, so they should really clean that up. Went to RepCon and did fly with me. I like killing feral ghouls. I enjoy that. I picked up some cool laser weapons from the Dead Bright Brotherhood dudes, and might keep using that laser rifle for a while. Outside, I think it's from the Willow companion mod, there was a quest where there was a ghoul wanted me to introduce her to another ghoul. So I did do that, and she gave me a really cool wig that gives me like a plus to my endurance and my perception, and to barter, I think it is +5 to barter. So that's pretty good. It looks like a Commonwealth kind of wig that somebody old school Americans would wear. So I'm still rocking that thing quite a while later. And so then they met Chris and all those guys, and they kept sending me out to the desert to get parts and fuel. They could have just told me both of the things they're looking for, but no, bring back one thing and have to go right back out to roughly where I was to get the other thing. And so I was talking to Chris, and a Black Widow option popped up. So I went with it, and I got Chris to add the sugar bombs to the fuel to blow those nuts to the moon. There's no bad karma for it. Novak likes me now, and kind of led me along my path where, even if it may not exactly fit what I'm thinking the character would do, if I think if she gets an option to use Black Widow or Chassé La Femme, I'm going to take it just to see what happens. Spent some time learning to play Caravan. That guy at the courier office sure plays a mean game. He's better at it than Ringo is. And I was wondering, where is Ringo now anyways? So I headed up to the Crimson Caravan office. It's kind of way up there, but I took the opportunity to stop in at the medical center and get a luck implant. Don't need the charisma implant because Willow gives me a +1 to charisma when I travel with her as a perk, which already brings me to 10 charisma. There's also she's got some mini quests that you can do, find stuff while you're going around questing, and you end up giving it to her, like teddy bears and shit. Anyway, went to the caravan headquarters, and hey, there's Ringo. I forgot he said he was headed that way. I cleaned him out of 800 caps playing Caravan. I'm using a combo of 6s, 7s, 9s, 10s, and then the face cards. As I buy more cards from vendors, I may change my play style, but I really like that they built this mini game into the game. If you want to learn, do what I did and watch a couple of YouTube videos. I also went to Boulder City. I expected a shootout, but again, I was able to speech check the cons into releasing the hostages and walking away. I then had to speech check the lieutenant to let them walk. The con dude did tell me where Benny went before he left, so looks like I'm headed to New Vegas. After Boulder City, I was talking to the people there, and I'd forgotten that I'd added another companion called Wendy Gilbert. She naturally flowed into becoming a companion through conversation after I set the cons free. It was really smooth before I realized who she was. She was following me. She comes with heaps of ways to configure her stats, very different from Willow is. So my assigned companion is Rose, but I haven't done whatever it is I need to get her yet. After Boulder City, I roamed around a little bit in the desert, and I found a place called Scorpion Gulch. Guess what's there? Scorpions. And a path through the mountains that kind of spits you out by Sloan and Black Mountain. Well, I got lost and turned around on my way back, and then I found my way out and headed northish. Saw an NCR post, but again avoided them. Think I might take the perk Fight the Power to get the +2 damage threshold and +5 critical chance against anyone wearing NCR Legion or Brotherhood of Steel armor. I'm a fan of the Free Mojave, right? Except for the Powder Gangers. Those guys are dicks. Kind of directed up northwest and found an anthill. Not too exciting, but ants. Wandered up and around New Vegas on the west side, stopping in at various buildings. In the H&H Tools, I found a Lucky 38 VIP card. That might come in handy later. By the way, I did not know that was there. And funny terminal entries in there too. Watch out if you go there. I end up dying a few times due to traps and stuff. Left the H&H and entered Freeside. Talked to a few folks, but really just headed right up to the strip. Passed by the credit check, and I'm in. What the fuck? Victor? Again? That robot's creeping me out. Mr. Holdout tried to sell me a weapon, but I have over 50 sneaks, so no need for his wares. And ended up talking to Mr. House. That's creepy. I don't think I'll be helping out that guy, but I let him think I was. Willa's not a big fan of him either. Strip at night looks pretty cool with my ENB. I turn it on and off sometimes to note the difference. Without it, the lights are kind of Went back to Freeside, saw the kid chasing a rat. I decided to help him out and shot the rat. Darned if the kid didn't come right up and start chomping down on that dead rat. Ha! Should have just asked me, kid. I would have given you some food. Went to the tops and used my speech check to talk my way past Swank and keep all my weapons. Then I snuck into Benny's room. What's this back room? Yes, man. I think that secretly using Yes Man, I can help free the strip from all these asshats. Went back downstairs to confront Benny. Lo and behold, I have some Black Widow options. I'm luring him into my web. Yes, Benny, let's go back to your room where it's more private. Then I had sex with him and killed him in his sleep. Black Widow indeed, and I have the chip again. Poked around Vault 21, decided that I needed to roam, so I headed out to Sloan and talked to the folks there. Also went up to Black Mountain and killed some super mutants and picked up Raoul. I like Raoul, even though he's a ghoul. I eventually sent him to a shack, though, which is somewhere. And with all my companions, I'm feeling pretty powerful, so having 3 at a time is maybe too much. Plus, I can't really hang with ghouls. That's just splendid, though. I, the player, personally kind of like ghouls. She just tolerates them. I went to Vault 22 to get the AER-14 prototype laser rifle. It does 105 DPS and supposedly fires a green laser, but one of my mods must be changing it to purple. Maybe Eve, the essential visual enhancements, does that. Still cool. Super creepy place. I know there's more quest stuff here, but I'm running around in circles, going back and forth, looking through it. I don't know. I can't find whatever quest is in here. So maybe I should see what I need to do to go get Rose of Sharon Cassidy. All right. So looks like that woman at the Crimson Caravan place asked me to do some jobs. I have to deliver a note to a guy off to Camp McLaren, NCR, but I don't have to like them to deliver a note. I find Dr. Hildern and complete the delivery. And what? He wants me to go to Vault 22. I just left there. Fine. His lab assistant wants me to find someone there. Off we go. Lo and behold, this time I've leveled up, and with the magazine, I can also pick that lock that eluded me last time. Sure enough, now I find that ghoul Kelly that wants to destroy the scientific info that caused this catastrophe that is Vault 22. I let her because I'm not helping that NCR scientist. That really pissed him off. No biggie. He was a dick. Back to Alice McClafferty, who wants me to go talk to Rose of Sharon Cassidy. And level 17, still putting my points into locksmith, medicine, sneak, and speech, which I only get like 12 points per level. So they're if I'm keeping them all going up equally, it's only so many per level. I did take the Mysterious Stranger and Misfortune, along with Ferocious Loyalty, Scrounger, and Animal Friend 2. So Animal Friend 2 is kind of interesting. I haven't really seen any animals helping me out, but I certainly do notice that as I'm just cruising around through the desert, I'm not getting attacked randomly by animals out there. I can kind of come right up to them and then pop them in the head when I need to. The weapons I'm carrying right now are Annabelle, which I got from Black Mountain. That's a rocket launcher. And Maria, which I got from Benny. Matches my Tin Pit Boy, so it looks pretty good. And the AER-14 prototype laser rifle, which I've got in Vault 22, which is pretty cool. It's got the purple beam I was talking about. My mods I'm going to spotlight this time round is Brighter, Larger Radius Pip-Boy Light. I was sure glad to have it when I was in the RepCon offices. Having a bright light in those dark areas really makes a difference. I like to see what I'm looking at if I need to pick anything up. And also I'm running the Vault 22 Flora Overhaul. I don't remember what it looked like last time I was there, but it looked really cool and overgrown this time around. Heaps of plants. So, all right, everybody. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you in the Mojave.
What is Jay and Jack's Ramblecast? The Ramblecast is a podcast about television, movies, current events, and anything else our listeners want to talk about. We sit down weekly to give our take on what's going on in the world, and we have a lot of fun doing it, typically at the expense of one or all of our hosts. Join Jay, Jack, Nick from Tennessee, and me, Chris in Boston, as we pull no punches, giving our opinions on everything from our favorite music and TV shows to the hostile takeover of sex robots. Subscribe today.
So, Steve and Casey, and I believe maybe even Leon, everyone's playing Caravan. I feel like I'm out of the loop.
Yeah, I just never have picked it up myself.
There's other ways to make money.
There
are. Speaking of which, I don't know as if he was assigned this duty, but he escorted a caravan. That also seems like a great way to harvest valuable items because you can just sell it directly to them.
There's so after you leave Nipton and you cross the border into Nevada, as you're walking along the highway there, you get attacked by a bunch of Viper Gang people, and there's
I remember those
your landmines.
Yeah, those are great. I remember blew off a leg.
Yeah. So as you continue around that road, you come to an overpass, and after you cross the overpass, there's a caravan that spawns on that overpass, and they make a left turn and head towards Novak, and you can follow along with them as they go. And there's some legionnaires that attack. In my game, there were some of the Night Stalkers, about 5 of them. So they killed those guys. That's the cross between a coyote and a rattlesnake.
Yeah, God, terrifying.
Yeah. And then there's another set of I don't remember if they're jackals or vipers. When you get closer to the Ranger Station Charlie, but there's another group, and that same set of caravan guards attack those guys too and wipe them out. So yeah, so you just follow along with this caravan,
That's amazing.
and you can go along, loot the bodies that they leave in their wake, and
Just
sell them the goods. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really brilliant. That's a great way to make some cash quick, it seems. He mentioned Willow and Wendy Gilbert, and he has some sort of follower mod on, he said, right? What was that called?
Yeah, those are those are 2 specific follower mods.
Oh, those are 2 different ones. Okay, I
Yep.
thought it was just one that provided a bunch of different followers.
No, those are 2 specific ones.
And in general, New Vegas modding on the PC, you're not going to run into problems with having 2 different mods for the same function. You know what I mean? Like 2 different followers following you at the same time doesn't ever create some sort of weird loop where scripts get sort of wonky and stuff starts going crazy.
So one of the things that I discovered with my Sunny Smiles follower mod was that they don't actually count as followers in your, in that part of the game mechanic, because I was able to also get Cassidy.
The convo wheel, the interaction wheel, does that pop up for those?
Yep.
It does. Okay. Oh, okay. He of course pointed out they make you make multiple trips for the fuel and the igniter. They always do that bullshit. I hate that. But if it's smart enough, you can just collect the stuff and bring it with you beforehand if you know.
Yeah,
See,
if you know.
I've never played it before, so I didn't really know that. But you can stop by the T-Rex and get some rockets. And where's the igniter thing? Wherever that thing is, go get that beforehand. Whatever.
Yeah, at the scrapyard.
The scrapyard.
Old Lady Gibson.
Yeah, another caravan player. It's just crazy. Kevin Keel, listener to the show and a Facebook group member, pointed out to me that there's a caravan app which I have downloaded onto my phone. I'm going to start doing some caravan lessons a little bit so I can figure out that game. And he said, yeah, it's a good way to practice. And he actually plays it a lot in his, just sort of his pocket game or whatever. So I'm going to try to teach myself a little bit of caravan with the caravan app. And Steve also mentioned luck implants. What do implants do again? Does that just basically give you a special a +1 or 2 or something?
1.
Just a +1. So intense training also gives your special a +1. But you don't have to invest like fucking 5,000 caps or something, right?
No. But you do have to spend a perk to get them. There's also perks there's also implants that do other things too that'll increase your damage threshold and that as well. So
adamantium skeleton or whatever.
Well, then this one actually does your overall damage threshold. It's like extra armor.
There you go. Oh, adamantium skeleton, you're right, is just limb protection. And
Right.
that's overall damage. Okay. speech check with the cons. So the hostages were let free. I don't know too many people have done that. My speech, I don't think, was high enough at that point yet. I definitely killed all those sons of bitches. The cons that you said, what did you say they were? Were they weapons or drug dealers?
Yeah, they're the drug cookers.
Drug cookers, okay. So that's nice. He's solved his hostage situation peacefully. Did you have any thoughts about Steve's feedback, Ray?
So definitely his mod added the ghoul out in front of the Repcon facility, because that one I'm not familiar with.
Okay. What was he saying? There was a
he did a quest for a ghoul and ended up getting a wig and
the powdered wig. Yeah. Or I don't know. He didn't say powder, but I assume from his description he was talking about like a turn of the century 1776 sort of like
George Washington wig.
The signing of the Declaration of Independence type of wig, those things. But what did he say? It gives him like a little bit of maybe he said perception and barter or something like that. I was like, ooh, that sounds fun. I could go get a fancy powdered wig to barter in. Just anytime you want to sell stuff, whip out this powdered wig and throw it on. Oh, that'd be great. Oh, that's great, Steve. Thanks so much for your feedback. And Ray, that was our last bit. Do you have any closing thoughts for the show this evening?
No, just another good round of feedback.
Yeah, it's great.
It's fun hearing everybody's stories and the direction that they're taking their characters, and he can, we'll definitely have the next set of quests, and we'll start splintering off in several different directions.
Yeah.
So there'll be plenty of fun stuff to do from here.
Yeah. So even if we're not covering your faction specific quests on a certain week, everyone, please still keep sending us in feedback about what you're doing on like side quests. This is now the time when you should go off and do all your side quests and get your faction stuff going, all your faction side quests and stuff. So while we will concentrate on specific faction quests,
right, for the main storyline.
While you are not being concentrated on, please run off and do all your faction side quests, and then please tell us about those. That's what we want to hear about in your feedback coming up. Yeah, closing thoughts here. Ray, I totally forgot to mention November 11th is our charity benefit for the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. And that is a very important cause to my family. My son has cystic fibrosis, and so it's important to us that we get a cure for this condition as soon as possible. But the Fallout Feed has put together 3 prize packages, and if you go to asapodcasting.com and click on the 12-hour charity section there, you will see a donate button that is a setup for PayPal there. So you can use that donate button, and there's a little comment section there too. So here's how it's going to go. We have 3 different packages at values of $25, $50, and $100. So if you would like to be entered in for the $100 package and you just sent in the $100, click donate for $100, and then write in your little comment section you want the raffle for the $100 package, because you also have the reason I'm saying it like this. I know you're not toddlers, you guys can figure this out, but what we're also going to do is encourage you to enter multiple times for the raffle. So if you want the $25 package, but you want to try it 4 times, you can still donate $100, but you just need to say in the note section that I want 4 entries for the $25 package. That's why I'm clarifying what the notes section is for. So we do encourage you to enter multiple times in the raffle. The packages are pretty cool. They are all Fallout related items acquired through various avenues. So we're going to remain a mystery, but the values have all been checked out on different sources where we're getting them. These are fair prices for everything that you will be getting, and it's just a fun prize package to help raise a few dollars to help some people out who need it desperately in these times. So thank you guys so much for your consideration, and please, the donate button is up. If you want to go ahead and start, you don't have to wait till the November 11th event. If you want to start going ahead and you just have your cash already, you want to go ahead and donate now, please go right ahead. The donate button is up. It's ready to go. It's functioning. And we appreciate everyone's help in this time. And that also brings me to another thought. Fallout 4 has sort of come and gone, and we are still doing a podcast about Fallout, even though there's not like a lot of current live news and information or a really deep pulse about Fallout right now in the pulp culture. And I just wanted to say thank you so much to all of our play along feedback people, because we are still doing our show because of this roundtable project and our Let's Plays, and like Pat's Let's Play he's doing. Those are these kind of things that we can do with the show to keep it going. We don't need a constant new news section and stuff like that for Fallout, because that's sort of fallen to the wayside. But I just wanted to extend another hand of gratitude to all of our listeners and the play along feedback people, because you are the lifeblood of the show, and the reason that the show is still continuing is because people are taking an interest in doing the play along feedback and participating in our roundtable and showing an interest in the show still. So thank you so much for sticking around this long, guys. It's feels really good to have dedicated listeners and play along, guys. So thanks for participating. Ray, closing thoughts?
Yeah, I think, certainly appreciate everybody's input, and we do the show because we love the games, and hopefully that comes through, and everybody else loves the game too, and we can all just kind of talk about it and have a good time. I mean, that's what we're here for.
Is anyone getting VR? That's coming out soon.
Oh man, I am so close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a little bit worried about how the guns view, but yeah, it's the Vive is down to $599, and right now you get the Fallout 4 VR free.
Ooh.
With the purchase of a Vive. So
nice.
Yeah, it's very close.
That I don't even. The Vive is the PC. What I'm assuming there's
it's the one that's through Steam.
Through Steam. Okay, that's cool, because there's one coming out for what, PlayStation 4, right? They're not doing it for Xbox though, right?
No, I think the PlayStation 4 one might be already out. I think it already is.
Is it? Oh, nice. Yeah. I did not know that. Cool. Great. So I haven't really heard anything about that. If any of our listeners happen to pick that up, go ahead and let us know about that.
Yeah, I think a couple of people have it. I think there's been some mention of it in the Facebook page. The Skyrim will come out on that VR.
Skyrim will also be in VR. It's awesome. Really cool. You think they'll get around to doing older games?
Probably not.
Vegas?
No, because I think the next step is going to be to, games that are specifically designed just for VR, not ports.
They better not make it so the next Fallout game is only VR.
No, there's not enough VRs for that. You don't have to worry about that.
It's gonna be another fucking 6 or 7 years before we get another Fallout game, right? Probably.
No, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, who knows? Okay, that's all I have for this evening. Ray, thank you so much for joining me.
Good times.
And Chris, thank you so much. Joe, Casey, Leon, Steve, and Craig, you guys are our heroes. Thanks for submitting great feedback, and hopefully you can keep up and keep submitting feedback each time we ask. I'd like to thank everyone for listening to the show, and we will see you in the wasteland.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. If you are interested in doing a play-along character with us, the show can be contacted by emailing falloutroundtable@gmail.com. For the roundtable schedule, our Amazon link, and all other show information, please head on over to asapodcasting.com, where you will find the Fallout Feed, the Skyrimatic podcast, our YouTube channel, the Chatterbox, as well as other content. Once again, thank you for downloading, and we'll see you in the wasteland.